You don't need to weigh and measure your food. You don't need to track it. You don't need to monitor every single morsel that goes into your mouth forever in order to achieve your fitness goals. But you do need to make a few small changes in order to see those goals and in order to ensure that you're fueling your body and your workouts properly. So if you feel like trying to eat healthy is just another ginormous burden on your plate, no pun intended, then this is for you. If you're returning, welcome back. And if you're new, my name's Angelica. I'm an online health and fitness coach, and I also work a 9 to 5. So I understand the struggle of trying to balance everything in a very small, limited time that you have during the work week. Now, I know for so many women, and myself included, when I first started this journey, nutrition was one of those things that just felt so out of my reach for understanding. It felt like this very confusing, mystical, I'll never understand it type of thing. Because not only is there so much information out there, but there's so much conflicting information. You can scroll any social media platform or do a quick Google search, and there's somebody telling you to eat this way, it's the best way, to eat this way, it's the best way, and they're complete opposites. Or you need to cut out this entire food group. No, you need to cut out this entire food group. And it could just seem really, really confusing. And it's also a huge struggle to completely eliminate whole food groups or, things from your diet. And you really don't have to do any of that. And I know on top of all of that, just confusion and not sure where to start, where to go, what to do, as women, we tend to put ourselves on the back burner because we take care of everyone and everything else before we want to pour into ourselves. And when we do find a little bit of time and energy to pour into ourselves, we feel guilty that we're doing that and not doing it for others, right? So I want you to be empowered with these very small shifts to make and these key ideas around nutrition so that you can implement them to not just achieve your fitness goals, but to feel better, to feel more energized, to feel healthier, more vibrant, and more confident in your body without it taking a ton of time and effort. Because even though you deserve to put in that time and effort into yourself, I understand that it's not always possible, especially during the work week when we have such a small amount of time anyway. We don't want to add more stress to our lives by trying to do some really complex, meal planning or whatever. And then, adding on top of that, like weighing and tracking and measuring everything just seems really, really impossible. And the good news is you don't have to do that in order to achieve your goals. And I'm going to cover a couple of key things that you can do to really simplify everything. All right, so first, let's start off with what the heck food is even made out of. We have two basic components that basically create food. We have macronutrients and we have micronutrients. Macronutrients are obviously those bigger building blocks that you see on your plate, which is protein, carbohydrates, and dietary fat. And contrary to the belief that I know us elder millennial women held back in the 90s and early 2000s, dietary fat does not make you fat. It's actually incredibly important for not only overall health and well-being, but specifically for women to maintain our hormone health. So we are not going to be cutting fats out around here. The other side of this is micronutrients, and these are vitamins and minerals that are within our food, and you might not be able to see it really on your plate, but they're there and they're super important to our health as well. So when we think about these big pieces, I'm sure that you've heard a lot about protein, and for good reason. Protein is, so many people have called it like the magic macro, but it is very important for our bodies because protein helps us to build and repair specifically muscle, but also all of the other tissues in our body. And having healthy, lean muscle is not only great for how your body's going to look and how it feels, but also how it moves and how you are aging as well. Protein is also extremely satiating, which means it's going to help you feel full for longer. And that's great when you are trying to eat in a deficit or to snack less or to, kind of control your eating habits, because when you feel good and you feel satisfied and you feel full and you have good energy, you don't feel like reaching for that bag of potato chips in your pantry, right? So we want to make sure that we are prioritizing our protein. So when we think about protein, obviously the first thing that probably comes to mind is meat. So beef, chicken, turkey, fish. You can also throw eggs in there, Greek yogurt. On the non-meat side, you have things like beans and chickpeas. The next thing is carbohydrates. And Again, this is another one that gets a bad rap. A lot of people feel like they have to do a low carb diet in order to lose weight and get fit, and that's not true either. Carbs are a very quick and accessible source of energy for our bodies to use, especially for our muscles when we're doing a workout or for our brains. You would be amazed at how much power your brain needs throughout the day. Even if you're just laying in bed all day, it uses a ton of energy and resources from your body and from your diet. So carbs are a great way to get that. So when we think about carbohydrates, I do like to point people to naturally occurring carbohydrates versus things that you can buy in a package. So I want you to think about things like potatoes, rice, quinoa, leafy vegetables, oats. Sourdough bread is one of my favorites, not naturally occurring, but it is healthier than some other variations of bread. But those are kind of the carbs that you want to think about. And then finally, dietary fats, which we talked about, is not the bad guy, no matter what the 90s and early 2000s said. Dietary fats help with things like hormone production, brain health, and absorption of key minerals and vitamins that your body would not be able to absorb otherwise. It's also, like protein, very satiating. So when you have dietary fats in your meals, you're going to feel fuller for longer. And when we think about healthy dietary fats, we want to think about things like avocados, nuts, seeds, egg yolks are an excellent source of dietary fat. Olive oil, grass-fed butter, fatty fish like salmon, those are all good sources as well. On the other side, we have micronutrients, which are things like vitamins and minerals. Micronutrients assist in so many different functions in your body, including bone health, immunity, vision, sleep health, your energy, your digestion, your skin health, your hormones, your mood, the list goes on and on. And where we can find these micronutrients are in most whole foods, but you mainly want to think about things like fruits and veggies, nuts, seeds, and whole dairy are all great examples of where you can find vitamins and minerals that are essential to our health. Another key element to this is fiber. And fiber can be found in most fruits and vegetables. And again, it is something that is going to help you feel satiated, to help you feel full for a longer amount of time. Not only that, but fiber aids in your digestive system, in your hormone health. It can help with things like blood sugar regulation and energy management. So if you feel that you are crashing after every single meal, maybe adding some fiber can help, alleviate that a little bit and keep it a little bit more even for you, along with the protein, the dietary fat, and carbohydrates, complex, naturally occurring carbohydrates, not potato chips. All right, so now that we have an understanding of what foods are made out of, how the heck can we actually make sure that we're creating meals that are going to be healthy and nutritious and balanced without having to weigh and measure everything? There are two methods that I like to teach people. The first one is the hand portion guide. So you can use your hand as a guide to help you understand portion sizes. I think one of the biggest issues that we have in society today is that our portion sizes are insane. Like when I go out to dinner, the portion that I get is usually enough for 2 meals for me. And I often will just try to box up at least half and bring it with me, because if I eat the entire thing, I'm going to be hurting. My stomach's going to be hurting. I'm going to be so full. I feel sick, and I hate feeling like that. But I also grew up with the whole like clean your plate mentality. So sometimes I really struggle with that one. But understanding portion sizes is going to be key, because I remember, y'all, the first time that I actually measured out 1 cup of rice, I was shook. My heart was shattered. Okay. I legitimately thought I was like having about 1 cup of rice per serving most of my life. And it was really more like 2 cups, sometimes bordering on 3. Okay. I'm Puerto Rican. I love my rice. I will have rice every day, all day, every single meal. And I will never get sick of it. But when I understood what portion size I was actually having, I had to rein it in a little bit to reach my fitness goals. All right, so what is the hand portion guide? Now, of course, you know that I love to create a free download guide. So I have one for you guys in the description of this video, and it walks you through everything we're talking about today and also has the graphics for these hand portion guides. but essentially using your hand as a guide to understand portion sizes. So, for example, for protein, you want to think about the size of your palm. Okay. If you look at your palm, it's kind of about the size of a burger patty. That's about 3 to 4 ounces, depending on, how big your hand is. But you want to think about aiming for about maybe 1 or 2 portions of your palm size. So I like to say at least 1.5. That'll give you about 4 to 5 ounces of your protein per meal that you're having. So 3 meals a day, and that will get you to your protein goal most likely. When we're thinking about carbohydrates, we want to use a closed fist or a cupped hand, depending on what you're measuring out. So for the closed fist, it can be something like rice or potatoes. Whereas the cupped hand is a great option if you are measuring out a portion of like pasta, for example. It's getting ready to storm here, so I apologize for like the crazy lighting change, but it just got so dark outside. I am still trying to figure out my whole lighting setup, so I apologize, but hopefully it's not too crazy for you guys. When we're measuring out things like vegetables, we can use 2 cupped hands, and that's going to be about 2 cups. So if that's like salad or, green beans or cucumbers, tomatoes, whatever you got going on, you can do about 2 cupped hands of that. When it comes to our fats, your thumb is a great tool to use. So your entire thumb would be about 2 ounces. So you can use that to measure out a portion of like cheese or peanut butter or salad dressings. Whereas the tip of your thumb would be about 1 ounce. And that's a good way to measure out your oils and your butter. So how much of these should you be getting each day? Like I mentioned with the protein, you want to aim for about 4 to 6 palms a day. So splitting that up between your 3 meals a day, or maybe you have 3 meals and a snack, however you want to split it up, just aiming for about 4 to 6 palm size servings. For your carbohydrates, you can look at about 3 to 5 fist size portions of rice, potatoes, whatever it may be. Sticking to the lower end, the less active you are, and the higher end, the more active you are, is kind of a good way to gauge it. And then for your fats, about 2 to 4 thumb size servings of whatever fats you're eating that day is a good way to kind of gauge across the board what you should be eating. And then for your veggies slash fruits slash fiber, you want to aim for about 4 of those cupped hand servings. So taking all of that and splitting it up into your 3-ish meals a day, maybe there's a snack in there, just kind of dividing it however works best for you, using that as a little bit of a gauge and a goal for you to shoot for in order to make sure that you're having balanced meals, not just each meal, but throughout the entire day, and getting the nutrients that your body needs. Now, my second method for building balanced meals without having to weigh and measure everything is to use your plate. Now, I do want to caution you against plate size because, like I mentioned before, that the portion sizes in our society are out of control. And a lot of this is because our plate sizes have gotten out of control. So if you are taking a plate that is bigger than your head and you're filling it up, that's going to be a lot more food than you think it is versus a, standard size plate. So you want to think about your plate size when you are doing this as well. So an easy way to split this is you want to do at least 25% is your protein, 25% is your complex, naturally occurring carbohydrates, and then 40% or half of your plate-ish is going to be your veggies, your fruits, your fiber. And then about 10% or like a thumb-sized serving is going to be those healthy fats. So if we think about a very simple dinner, right? Steak and potatoes. We have 1/4 of our plate is our steak, 1/4 of our plate is potatoes, and then the other half-ish is going to be salad or green beans. And then we have a thumb-sized amount of butter, some delicious Kerrygold grass-fed butter for our potatoes. That is a balanced plate that is going to give you your protein, your carbs, your healthy fat, and your veggies slash fiber. And the last thing that I want to touch on while we're talking about nutrition is hydration. So I know there are so many women out there. I've heard so many people say this. I don't like drinking water. I hate water. I forget to drink my water. Okay, I understand, but you also have to understand that we are like 70% water. And if you're not drinking enough water, which is why I have my giant tumbler right here next to me throughout the entire day, your body is not only dehydrated, but it cannot function properly. And that is why you are tired and you're hungry and you're cranky and you have a headache and you don't understand why you're always chronically exhausted. It's probably because you're dehydrated and you're not drinking enough water. Okay. And it's not only just water, it's also about having proper electrolyte balance. So, electrolytes like potassium, sodium, chloride, magnesium, phosphate, we also have to make sure that we have a proper balance of those in order to ensure that our body is able to function properly. Our bodies are very intricate, and when they get off balance, it can cause a lot of issues throughout our entire body. So, being hydrated and having that proper electrolyte balance is important because it's not only providing our body what it needs to function properly, it helps to support our nervous system and so many other things. Now, you can go ahead and get some electrolyte packets if you want. Just make sure you do some research on what's good, what's not. But you can do something as simple as putting a little bit of sea salt in your water when you first wake up in the morning. I like to do that. I'll do a little bit of sea salt, a little bit of tart cherry juice with some coconut water. And that's a great source of electrolytes. And it's also very hydrating. So I drink that while my coffee is brewing so that I get it first thing in the morning when I wake up. Now, overall, when you think about your water intake, a good rule of thumb, and I've said this before in other videos, is about half of your body weight in ounces per day. So if you're 150 pounds, aiming for 75 ounces of water per day. One of the easiest ways to make sure that you're hitting your goal is to get a cute water bottle, okay? I know it's like a very girly thing to have a cute water bottle, but this baby is 40 ounces. And if I drink 3 of these a day, I know I'm good. I'm golden. I don't have to worry about it. Whereas if I'm just drinking like a little cup of water, how am I going to keep track? Sometimes I can't remember if I've had 2 or 3 of these, so I have to have another one. How am I going to keep track of drinking like 15 glasses of water? No. And if you work in an office, I am very lucky that I work from home remotely, but if you work in an office, get a water bottle that you just keep at work so you don't have to worry about forgetting it. And then you have another one that's your home water bottle, and you're always set. You want to make sure that you're drinking it evenly as much as you can throughout the day. So, like, one thing that I always do is I have a big glass, I have my electrolytes in the morning, and then I have a big glass of water before I have my coffee. After I have my coffee, I try to basically just drink one of these throughout each section of the day. So this one I try to finish by lunch. My lunch one I try to finish by early afternoon. And then the next one I finish by early evening. I don't want to be chugging a ton of water right before I go to bed because that's not fun. And then it also disrupts your sleep. So trying to balance it out throughout the day. All right, so that's all I have for you today. I really wanted to keep this simple and give you some really quick, actionable things that you can take with you into this coming week to start to have more balanced meals, to have more energy, and to feel good without taking a ton of time and effort on your part. So let me know in the comments below if you're going to try the balance plate or the hand portion guide this week, or if you're going to do a mix of both. If you enjoyed today's video, please hit that like button and subscribe to see more 9 to 5 fit videos in the future, as well as some other fun things that I'm planning for you guys. And if you want to share this with some of your office besties so that they can also get fit while working their 9 to 5, I would truly appreciate that. I really appreciate anything you do to support the channel because the more I grow, the more I can, hopefully my goal is to help as many women as possible to get fit, to feel energized, feel good in their bodies, and be able to live the best life that they can. So thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed today, and I will see you in the next video.